Now, Dasha Chernyshova joins us with more on this story. Dasha, it is an election, but for the Russians, is the outcome a foregone conclusion?
Oh, that's right. We understand that most Russians are indeed going to re-elect Vladimir Putin for yet another term as Russia's president, so he will remain in power until 2030. That has become possible after the amendments made to the Russian constitution in 2020 that nullified the previous 2 terms that he served. We also understand that to the moment, all the polling stations across the vast territory of the country have opened. To the moment, the Central Election Commission says the turnout is over 5% across the Russian Federation, but the voting will be taking place for 3 days in a row. It is the first time that Russians are voting in the presidential election for 3 days. They also have an opportunity to cast their ballot online, and many have done so already. We understand that in Moscow alone, the number of voters has exceeded 1 million, and obviously the authorities are doing a lot to make sure that the turnout is high.
Dasha, also, are there any issues that influence a voter's choice? How serious now is the concern that Russia's future is at stake, as President Putin puts it?
Well, that's right. The Russian president has issued a statement on the eve of this election saying that it is the civic duty of every Russian to come to the polls in this year's presidential election. The understanding among the Russians is that indeed Vladimir Putin is the only and the right candidate to lead the country for the next 6 years as a man who will be able to ensure Russia's security, stability and stable development. That also includes the understanding in Russia that the operation that was started in Ukraine will need to be over, and it is only with the leadership of Vladimir Putin that it will be possible. According to the public opinion polls, the operation in Ukraine has only solidified and consolidated public opinion around the figure of the Russian president. Economic-wise, also, there have been several initiatives that have been started under the presidency of Vladimir Putin, and the understanding among many Russians is that that has to develop. In the meantime, we have seen queues of people who are willing to add their signatures to the pro-peace candidate Boris Nadezhdin. He failed to meet the criteria to be on the ballot, but nevertheless the queues that we have seen are also indicative that there are those who do not support the ongoing course, who want an alternative candidate, who want some other options, as well as the thousands of people whom we have seen at the cemetery in Mariina district when there was the funeral for the Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, labeled as terrorist and extremist in Russia. So certainly the understanding at the moment is that the Russians are making the right choice by voting for the incumbent president, but obviously there are questions as to what happens in the country by 2030.
We leave it there. Thank you very much, Dasha Chernyshova, for that update.